My passion for collecting antiques had taken me to countless dusty attics, dimly lit thrift stores, and forgotten corners of the world. Each piece I acquired held a unique history, a story waiting to be told. But the one that would haunt my dreams and shatter my reality was a music box, a seemingly innocent object with a sinister secret. I discovered the box in an old, decrepit, antique shop on the outskirts of a sleepy town. It was a small, ornate wooden box with intricate carvings of flowers and vines, its brass winding key tarnished with age. The elderly shopkeeper warned me against purchasing it, his trembling hands reluctant to part with it, but I was drawn to it like a moth to a flame. As I wound the key and opened the lid, a haunting melody filled the air, its notes melancholic and ethereal. It was as if the music came from a place beyond this world, a lament of a lost soul searching for release. I was entranced by its beauty, and I knew I had to have it. The shopkeeper's eyes bore into mine as I paid for the music box, his voice filled with a dire warning. "Be careful with that box, young fella. Rumor has it's brought on a spot of bad luck for its previous owners." I dismissed his words as the ramblings of a superstitious old maw. It was just a wooden box. There was no way it could hurt anyone. Little did I know that the music box would become my obsession and my curse. The first time I played the music box for my friends, their reactions were immediate. As the haunting melody filled the room, their eyes glazed over, their expressions vacant. It was as if they had been transported to another realm, a trance from which they could not awaken. Panic welled up inside me as I watched them, their bodies swaying to the haunting tune. I tried to snap them out of it, shaking them and shouting their names, but they were unresponsive. They had become vessels for something malevolent, something that had been awakened by the music. When the music stopped, they seemed to snap out of their trance. But I found in the following weeks that something wasn't right. When we would speak, something seemed off about them. Their personalities didn't seem right, as if they were no longer themselves, but instead some sort of imitation. Desperation set in as I realized that the music box held the key to their torment. I returned to the antique shop, seeking answers from the old shopkeeper. He looked at me with sad, knowing eyes, as if he had been expecting my return. "The melody has ensnared their souls," he whispered. "The music box is a vessel for a malevolent spirit, a force that feeds on the life force of those who hear its song. There is only one way to break the curse, find the spirit's true name, and banish it." With a heavy heart, I embarked on a relentless search for the spirit's name. I delved into dusty archives and scoured ancient texts, seeking any clue that would lead me to the malevolent entity that had ensnared my friends. The melody of the music box haunted my every moment, a constant reminder of the darkness that had invaded my life. Finally, after weeks of research, I uncovered a name, an ancient, forgotten entity known as Moros, a malevolent spirit that preyed on the souls of the living. Armed with this knowledge, I returned to the antique shop, determined to confront the spirit and break the curse. The old shopkeeper led me to a hidden chamber beneath the store, a place filled with ancient relics and forgotten artifacts. At the center of the room stood the music box, its melody now a sinister dirge that sent chills down my spine. It was clear that Moros had taken residence within it, a malevolent force that thrived on the suffering of others. With trembling hands, I wound the music box's key one last time and opened the lid. The haunting melody filled the room, and I called out to Moros, his name a desperate plea. The spirit emerged from the music box, a swirling vortex of darkness that threatened to consume me. I stood my ground, my voice strong and unwavering. Moros, I know your name, and I command you to leave this world. Release my friends from your grasp, and return to the shadows from whence you came. For a moment, it seemed as if Moros would defy me, his presence growing stronger and more malevolent. But then, with a deafening wail, he began to dissipate, his form unraveling like smoke in the wind. The music box fell silent, its melody no longer a source of torment. I rushed to my friend's side, their eyes slowly regaining their focus as the curse was lifted. They were weak and disoriented, but they were free from Moros's grasp. We embraced, tears of relief streaming down our faces, grateful for our escape from the darkness that had nearly consumed us. The music box, now devoid of its malevolent spirit, became an object of dread, a reminder of the horrors we had endured. I locked it away in a secure chest, hidden from the world, never to be heard again. In the end, the haunting melody had nearly claimed our lives, but it also led us to the truth, the name of the malevolent spirit that had ensnared us. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of circumstances, knowledge and determination could lead to salvation. And so, we emerged from the ordeal stronger, our bond unbreakable, and our hearts filled with gratitude for the light that had banished the shadows of the past.
Darkness has been my constant companion since birth. Blindness was my reality, and I had learned to navigate the world with unwavering confidence. But when I moved into a new apartment on the outskirts of town, the darkness took on a sinister presence that I had never encountered before. The apartment was spacious, with tall windows that promised streams of daylight and a sense of tranquility. The real estate agent had assured me it was the perfect place for someone like me, a blind woman seeking independence and a fresh start. Little did I know that my newfound solitude would be shattered by unseen horrors. The first signs of trouble were subtle, a whisper of a chill in the air, a creak in the floorboards, an eerie shiver down my spine. I brushed them off as the normal sounds and sensations of an old building, but the unease continued to grow. One night, as I lay in bed, I heard it a soft, distant whisper that seemed to come from the shadows themselves. It was a language I couldn't understand, a guttural, otherworldly voice that sent shivers down my spine. My heart raced, and I clutched the sheets, my senses on high alert. The whispering continued, growing louder and more insistent. It was as if unseen entities were gathered around me, their presence a malevolent force that sought to invade my very soul. Panic welled up inside me, but I couldn't see what was tormenting me, and couldn't fight back against the mysterious horrors. I reached for my phone and voice-dialed the police. I explained that I'd been hearing voices and movements around my house, and I didn't think I was alone there. They arrived quickly, their flashlights sweeping through the apartment, but they found nothing amiss. No intruders, no signs of a break-in. Nothing to explain the whispered voices that had haunted my night. As time moved on, the unseen entities grew bolder. They would move objects around my apartment, sending them crashing to the floor with a deafening noise. They would tug at my hair and clothes, their touch icy and insistent. And always, the whispered voices, a cacophony of malevolent murmurs that echoed in my ears. I sought help from every source I could find: psychologists, paranormal investigators, priests, and mediums. They all tried to understand the source of my torment, but no one could explain the unseen entities that plagued me. Some suggested that it was all in my mind, a manifestation of stress or trauma, but I knew better. I could feel their presence, their cold, invisible fingers brushing against my skin. I'd even taken to carrying pepper spray with me at all times just in case. Desperation set in as I became a prisoner in my own home. I stopped sleeping, afraid of what would lurk in the infinite darkness. I barricaded myself in my bedroom, but the entities seemed to seep through the walls, their whispers growing louder and more menacing. One evening, as I sat huddled in a corner, tears streaming down my face, a new sensation washed over me. It was a surge of anger, a determination to confront the unseen tormentors once and for all. I did my best to calm myself, steady my breathing, and listen to the room around me. I thought I heard footsteps to my right. I took a deep breath and held it, listening intently. I could hear the distinct sound of someone else breathing. That's when I knew that I wasn't crazy. There was someone else in the room with me. "Who's there?" I called out. "I can hear you." Just then, I heard heavy footsteps running across the room toward me. With a shriek, I ran in the opposite direction. I only made it a few feet before hitting the coffee table. My intruder must have moved it, as they'd been doing with my furniture over the past few weeks. I fell to the ground hard, a searing pain in my shins. In no time, my uninvited guest was on top of me, their hands tight around my throat. I struggled to reach the pepper spray in my pocket, finally getting it loose. I sprayed upward. I heard the man cough and wheeze, and I used the opportunity to knee him in the groin. He fell over, and I quickly got up to make my escape. He'd moved all my furniture around, completely disorienting me as to where I was in the room. I felt around and found a door, but upon opening it, I was able to feel that it didn't lead outside. It was the basement. I didn't have time to turn around when my assailant pushed me down the stairs. I landed with a crashing blow on the basement floor. I could hear the man slowly plodding down the stairs. He was taking his time, playing with me like a cat would play with a mouse, before finally putting it out of its misery and eating it. I had to act fast. I got up and ran for the wall, frantically feeling around. It wasn't too long before I found what I was looking for, the fuse box. Swinging it open, I flipped all the switches inside, plunging the house into total darkness. Now the playing field was even. I moved swiftly and silently through the darkened room, feeling around for anything I could use as a weapon. The intruder was clumsy, his feet heavy. I had spent my entire life shrouded in darkness. I had learned to listen and be aware of my surroundings. He, on the other hand, found himself totally useless without his sight. As I slowly moved around the room, I eventually felt something wooden, long and cylindrical. It was the handle of a shovel. This was my best chance. I listened for my oafish trespasser stumbling in the dark and zeroed in on his location. I slinked forward like a cat, steadily approaching, drawing the shovel back. When I could feel that I was close, I swung as hard as I could, feeling it connect with a loud, metallic thud. With the intruder finally incapacitated, I found my way back upstairs and out the front door, where I screamed for help. My neighbors called the police and found the man unconscious in my basement. It seems he had been coming and going for weeks, tormenting me as some sort of sick game. Even though I know he's locked away, sometimes late at night, every once in a while I think I can hear him out there in that infinite darkness.
The incessant rain drummed against the windows, its relentless patter echoing my restless thoughts. I sat alone in my dimly lit apartment, surrounded by the soft static of an old CB radio that hadn't worked in years. It was left to me by my grandfather after he died, and I didn't have the heart to throw it out. That evening, as the storm raged outside, something inexplicable happened. The radio crackled to life, its ancient speakers emitting a faint melody. I leaned closer, bewildered by the impossible occurrence. Then, a voice, a low whisper, emerged from the static. "Is anyone there? Can you hear me?" My heart pounded in my chest as I stared at the radio, my breath caught in my throat. It couldn't be real. I thought, my mind racing for a rational explanation. But the voice grew clearer, carrying with it an unmistakable tone of desperation. Please, I need your help. You're the only one who can hear me. I reached for the radio's knob, trying to silence the eerie transmission, but it defied my attempts to turn it off, its spectral voice persisting. I've been searching for so long. You have to help me. With trembling hands, I spoke into the microphone, my voice hesitant and filled with disbelief. Who are you? Are you in trouble? The response was a chilling revelation. The voice on the other end was a woman, her tone filled with anguish and regret. She spoke of a buried secret, a crime that had remained hidden for decades, and she pleaded with me to uncover the truth. You must find the diary, she implored, her voice growing fainter. It holds the answers. It's buried in the old oak tree behind the abandoned church. The radio fell silent, the eerie melody fading into static once more. I was left in stunned silence, my mind struggling to process what had just occurred. Was this some kind of prank? Even if it was, how would the radio suddenly have started working again after all these years? As dawn broke and the rain subsided, I decided that I should at least try to follow the mysterious voice's instructions. A sense of duty and curiosity compelled me to unravel the secrets that lay buried in the old oak tree behind the abandoned church. With a spade in hand, I made my way to the desolate churchyard. The dilapidated building loomed like a specter against the gray sky, its stained glass windows shattered and its doors long since unhinged. The tree stood in a corner of the yard, its gnarled roots twisting into the earth. My heart raced as I dug into the damp soil, the earth giving way to the weight of my spade. It felt like hours, but finally the shovel struck something solid. With trembling hands, I uncovered a small wooden box, the diary. I opened the weathered pages, and the handwriting inside was unmistakably that of the voice on the radio. It detailed a chilling tale of a murder that had occurred in the small town decades ago, a crime that had been concealed and forgotten. The diary implicated powerful individuals, their names hidden in cryptic entries. With each page I turned, the woman's story unfolded the victim's pleas for justice, the corrupt law enforcement, and the web of deceit that ensnared the town. The truth was more horrifying than I could have ever imagined. Determined to expose the long-buried secret, I reached out to a local investigative journalist, hoping to shed light on the darkness that had plagued the town for so long. The reporter agreed to meet me, and together we began to piece together the evidence hidden within the diary. As we delved deeper into the story, we faced resistance from those who wished to protect the town's dark past. Threats and warnings came our way, but we pressed on, driven by a sense of justice and the voices of the dead urging us forward. It wasn't long before the truth began to surface, and the town's secrets could no longer be contained. The story of the murder and the subsequent cover-up sent shockwaves through the community, exposing the corruption that had festered for generations. But with the truth came danger. The powerful figures implicated in the diary's pages would stop at nothing to silence us. Threats escalated into acts of violence, and we found ourselves hunted by those who would do anything to protect their secrets. As the noose tightened around us, the voice on the radio returned, a spectral guide leading us through the darkness. It revealed hidden passages and escape routes, guiding us away from danger time and again. It was as if the woman's spirit had become our guardian, watching over us from the other side. In the end, the truth prevailed, and the corrupt individuals responsible for the murder were exposed and brought to justice. The town began to heal, its wounds slowly mending as the darkness that had plagued it for so long was finally vanquished. But the voice on the radio remained, a haunting reminder of the woman who had reached out from beyond the grave to seek justice for the long-forgotten victim. It was a testament to the power of the truth and the resilience of those who were willing to listen to the voices of the dead. As for me, I couldn't forget the chilling experience that had led me on this journey of discovery. The radio, once silent and forgotten, had become a vessel for the voice of a woman who had refused to be silenced by death itself. It was a reminder that some secrets are buried so deep that only the voices of the dead can unearth them.